Hello and welcome back to Mark's house and garden. Hedge cutting, it's hedge cutting time of the year. It's December. Cut your hedges in the winter when the birds are not nesting and the trees or the plants or the shrubs are dormant. And I've got a massive hedge to keep under control. It's over here, let me take you to it. This is my wildlife pond, which many of you will be familiar with, dug by hand with a spade. 6 meters across, and this is the hedge in question. Now, when I moved in here 4 years ago, that was about this height, about 4 foot high. Having been left alone for 4 years, it's got a little bit out of control, and I am now going to bring it back under control. Now, I am not a trained tree surgeon or arboriculturalist, they call them, but I have good logic, and I do think gardening a lot of the time is all about logic. I've got my tools here. I will share with you the tools I've got, and bear in mind you can buy all of these tools from my Amazon shop. Then I am going to get that hedge back under control, and it's going to be a learning curve for me. So if you're like me and you've never really done this before, you can learn as I learn. So what have I pulled together in terms of tools for the job? Well, these are my tools, and we'll start at this end and move down there. This is a long-handled battery-powered chainsaw with a brand new blade on it, so that will come in handy. I have some long-sleeved thorn-proof gloves. Now this is an interesting thing, and this is actually, surprisingly enough, if a garden tool can have sentimental value, this one does, because my father-in-law, this is his tool, and he died at the start of the year, and my mother-in-law has let me have this, and it's for reaching in to the bush and lopping. So that's another tool. I have some shears, pretty robust shears here. This hedge has got thick branches on it, so I need robust shears. My thought with these is I will cut in so that I can get closer first. That's one of the first things I will do. Now here I have some ratchet loppers, and these are for thick branches. And again, some small loppers for thinner branches. So that's my selection of tools I've also got in my pockets, which is essential. And last but not least, you mustn't forget these, some safety glasses. Right, let's get up on the mound and start pruning. Now what I'm pruning here is a holly. It's a holly hedge that's become several holly trees. And my initial thought is I need to be able to get closer to those vertical branches. So I've got my small loppers and my pretty robust shears, and I'm really just going to hack in and take off all of this growth that's coming in to the garden sideways. Don't worry about holly, because holly will grow back from old wood, and so you can afford to be quite assertive with it. And I will be taking away the cuttings periodically just to make sure it's safe. So I will get on with that, and I'll come back to you in a moment. I'm now going to reach in with my father-in-law's loppers and take out some more of the greenery in the centre so that I can see what I'm dealing with. These have got a kind of a hook at the end, so you can actually reach in and pull out the branch that you've just pruned. Out it comes. Now there are some slightly bigger branches in here which are a bit too thick for those long reach loppers, so I'm going to have a go with my ratchet loppers. Now with these, you basically use a narrow range of motion to shut the loppers, and then do that, open them up, and it releases the blade again. So you will see me now go in here and just very gently, I'll put my glasses on, ratchet in on this branch. And away it comes, like that. And now that I can see inside the hedge, I feel slightly more confident about having a go with this long-handled pole saw. Now, Safety first, obviously. Any branch which is tall is going to fall in one direction or the other. And you can kind of make a reasonable guess in which direction it's going to fall by looking at it and seeing where it's leaning. And you can kind of make an educated guess where gravity is going to take it. And then my logical approach is to cut on the other side from where it's going to fall, because once that blade gets into the trunk, you don't want it getting pinched by the weight of the tree under gravity. So if you go on the reverse side, if it starts falling that way, the cut that you're making will open up rather than close down. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll practice on a smaller one first, then I'll go in for some of the bigger ones. So for example, that branch there feels as if it wants to kind of go in that direction. So I will cut on this side into it and hopefully it will fall that way. Glasses on, and I'm standing at a distance, so it's okay. And I've got an escape route, so let's go and have a cut. And away it goes. And before I go any further, I'm going to have a really good tidy and get these out of the way so that I don't trip over them. And periodically I'm now going back in with my loppers and just removing a bit more of the greenery so that I can see inside. Now, I am quite an impatient chap by nature. Once I've started a job, I want it to finish quickly. I want to see the results. And I think that's one of the things you've got to be aware of with a job like this, where safety is important, to take your time. So that's a tip to myself, which I hope you will also share. All right, there's a lovely branch here which I can remove, and it will take out quite a bit of greenery which is obstructing the view. It's entangled here, but now it will release. You can no doubt see here that I've reached the centre of this very thick hedge. And what that means is the branches beyond the centre are leaning out in that direction, which isn't really of very much consequence here, because on the other side of my hedge is a field and I can go and retrieve any branches that fall in, and any trunks that fall in that direction won't do any damage. But I would say the one thing you must do if you live in a highly populated area with close neighbours, check what's on the other side before you start pruning, because you don't want them, all these branches falling on your neighbour's Ford Cortina. Now, some of these branches, as you can see, are coming out quite thick and very long and very heavy. I could probably tug that out on my own, but I'm going to introduce another tool at this stage. This has been on the subs bench in my garage, if you like. It's a battery powered chainsaw, and I'm just going to use it to make this slightly easier to handle. So I'm going to chop it up here in situ into smaller chunks. If you want one of these, by the way, I was sent two, and I'm giving one away in my January prize draw, my giveaway gift bundle. I have a prize draw every month. You'll find a link to my club in the description box below this video, and that is where you can win prizes. Everything I get given, I ask for two of, and I give the other one away in my prize draw. So let's just step back at a safe distance and just go in and chop this up with this battery powered chainsaw. Easy as that with the right tools, isn't it? I'll turn the safety latch off and I will drag this out. Now, I am losing the light, so I better get on with this job. But there's a couple of interesting things I want to tell you about holly. This is a holly tree, you probably guessed that already. The first one is, this holly tree has got berries on it, which means it's female. And in order to get berries on your holly, you've got to have a male and a female in close proximity. So that's one interesting fact about the holly. The other one is the fact that at height, which is where these leaves were, up in the top of the tree, they're not prickly at all. They're prickly down at the bottom where the deer can eat them. So that prevents the deer from eating the leaves at the bottom. but the leaves at the top don't have spikes, which is an adaptation, an evolution, which makes it more efficient to produce the leaves at the top. Isn't that fascinating? It's now the next day. I lost light yesterday. I lost charge on my tools. I lost charge on my phone, and actually my physical energy was really low. So I've had a break and I have recharged, and it's given me the opportunity to reflect and think up some more tips and advice I would give myself if I was doing this job afresh. And the first thing is, I would say, don't work in the dark. I was starting to make silly mistakes because it was going dark and I was feeling fatigued. So don't work in the dark and don't work tired. Have frequent breaks, and that's something I forget to do sometimes. Having had a break, it's given me the opportunity to check my tools and put some more oil in these tools. These power tools do need oil, and in doing that I remembered something which I'd forgotten, which would have been useful yesterday, and that is the fact that this actually has a tilt mechanism, and I'll probably be able to use that today. Tidy up as you go. For the past half an hour before I've started filming again, I've been tidying. It's had two effects. It's made me feel that there's a much safer area to work in, but also it's made me realise that I've actually come a long way. I've done a lot, and that's encouraged me, and it's refreshed my energy for this project. Now, if you've got a big project like this, my advice is to take it in small bite-sized chunks. There's that saying, isn't there? How do you eat an elephant? In small bite-sized chunks. Well, this represents an elephant. Do it in small steps. Don't be too ambitious. Don't overreach. Don't overreach personally, and don't overreach with your tools. Don't be too ambitious with these tools, because that's a safety risk. Right, I've now got to get on with it, and I'm quite encouraged because I can see the end in sight. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. This has been an excellent exercise for me because it's been a practice run. Just to my right, there is a huge hedge, an enormous hedge, which I'm going to tackle next, and this has been a good practice run for that. That is the project of my gardening lifetime. It's massive, and you'll see that in another video. Right, let's get on with this. Let's get this job finished. I'll get the video edited. Now, I would class myself as quite an experienced gardener. But gardening for me is always an experiment and a learning curve, and that's one of the things I really enjoy about gardening. Whatever job you do, you always take away a new skill or learn a new skill. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to use all the skills which I have evolved and developed on this project to bring all this bit to my right down to the ground. I'll do that in fast forward. You don't need to see me reinvent the wheel. I'll do the same here. Don't worry about these hedges. These are holly hedges. I had a massive holly hedge in a previous house, and I cut it down to foot-tall stumps, and within 2 years it was a lovely compact hedge again. And that's something that will happen here with this holly. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind this will recover very strongly. It's got great roots, and all those roots will feed lots of new growth, and the more you prune something, the more you stimulate the new growth. So I'll get on with all these bits, but then there's a thick trunk there, and I want to demonstrate how I'm going to deal with that thick trunk, because that is quite a challenge. So once I've done all this, which I'll give you in fast forward with a little bit of music, only about 15 seconds, we'll come back to how I'm going to tackle that thick and very tall tree effectively. The job is nearly complete. In a moment I will show you a before and after from down by the wildlife pond, which is where I started this project. I've still got this one to take out, and I said I would show you how I was going to tackle it. Again, it's logic. There's a lot of weight in this, and it's leaning out towards my neighbour's field. So my thought is I'll use these loppers to get a lot of the weight from up there. And then I will use the mini chainsaw, and I'm going to take a specific approach with this. I'm going to cut a wedge out of the side it's going to fall towards so that it can hinge down, and then I'm going to go to the reverse of that hedge and cut into it. But the first thing I will do is get a lot of the weight from up there using these. Now, I hope you can see me at the bottom of this shot. I've reached a stage now where these are just not cutting it, quite literally. The boughs of the tree or the branches are too thick, so it's time again to use this. And I mentioned earlier that it's got a pivot head, so I'm going to use that this time. It's also extendable, which is great because you're not underneath the branches that are going to fall down. So I'm going to use the extension like this. Then I'm going to step back here and start cutting at some of these slightly bigger branches that I can't get through with those loppers. Now that did become a bit of a wrestling match up on high there, and I actually broke one of my own rules, which was I was a little bit too ambitious, but we got there in the end. I did manage to get my chainsaw caught in a piece of ivy that's climbed up the tree. So I've just got a couple more branches here at this level to take off, and then we'll do the wedge at the bottom and remove this trunk. Now this is the trunk in question, and there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that that's going to fall in that direction. There's no way that can defy the laws of physics and gravity and go in that direction. And in reality, I probably could just cut into that and it will never nip the chainsaw blade. It's going to go that way whether or not. But I do want to just try this idea of putting a wedge in. So I'm going to put a wedge on this side and then cut towards the wedge from this side, and it should fold down there. Exciting times, work to treat that. It was something I wanted to practice just in case I need it when I go on to the massive hedge, which is right behind me. Don't forget to have a look at my club where you can win prizes every month. And I can now enjoy elevated views over open countryside. And this hedge will grow back, and from now on I'll keep it under control. I will type all my hints and tips for hedge trimming for beginners, and again, I'm a beginner, in the description box below this video, and I will see you soon for some more hedge trimming adventures. And if you're wondering what I'm going to do with all these cuttings, I'm going to make a dead hedge for nature, like a willow hurdle with all the cuttings stuffed in between. Right, here we go. Let's chop this log up.